This is The Edge of Innovation, Hacking the Future of Business. I'm your host, Paul Parisi.
And I'm Jacob Young.
On The Edge of Innovation, we talk about the intersection between technology and business, what's going on in technology, and what's possible for business. So welcome to The Edge of Innovation. Today we're talking with Mark Dever from Washington, D.C. Mark, I usually put in there the owner of ABC Company, but I'm struck. What do you do?
For a quarter of a century now, I have been the pastor of a church on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C.
Okay, so you're a pastor. What kind of church? I mean, is it Buddhist church? Help me out.
Yeah, it's a Christian church. It's a Baptist church. It's been around since right after the Civil War.
So you're in Capitol Hill. That sounds like a very interesting place to be. I know a bunch of different people that live in the Washington, D.C. area. And do you suffer from the same myopic view of the world that other people in D.C. suffer from? Because I'm in Boston, and so people are listening to us from all over the world, and I imagine D.C. has a sort of reality distortion field. And is that a part of your life?
People seem to think it is the case that, if you live, as we put it, inside the Beltway, you're absorbed with things that go on here. I think the nature of my work takes me outside the Beltway more than most. So I might be a little less absorbed than the guy who works 5 blocks away in the Capitol building.
Okay.
Behind the Supreme Court and the Library of Congress, 5 blocks just to the east of the Capitol building.
Oh, very cool. So that must be neat. Now, you have a church, and it's been there since, you said, the 1800s. That's quite a long time. Do a lot of people go to it? Is it a thriving church? Is it a healthy organization?
We have about 1,000 people on Sunday mornings, and about a $4 million, and not quite $3.8 million annual budget. Congregation's average age is probably about 30. Yeah, it's a delightful congregation to be a part of. It has a lot of transiency because we're in the middle of a city. A lot of young people come here to work after college, and then they meet a spouse, start having kids, find D.C. in the middle is too expensive to live in, so they either move out to the suburbs or back up to Boston or someplace.
Oh, I see. Okay. And so now you've been there 25 years.
25 years.
Wow. Is this what when you were young, is this what you envisioned you'd be doing?
Interesting that you assume I'm not young, but no, in fact, it's not. I thought I was going to be a professor.
A professor of?
Historical theology, which means what people in the past have believed.
Okay, well, that's a whole interesting thing we should talk about, but let's continue down our path. So you were going to be a professor. 1,000 people at a church. Is that a lot? Is that a little? Is that how you measure the success of a church? I have a small business. We have 11 employees, and that's a small business, a very small business.
Yeah.
But then you're talking, Boeing has thousands of employees, tens of thousands. So how do you rank that, or how do you even discuss that kind of thing?
I think the average church in America is 50 to 100 people. Mm-hmm. So I think this would be a large church, but it's not what they call in the press a mega church. It's going to be like 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000. It's just like 1,000. So it's a big church.
Okay. I imagine church has something to do with faith, and there are many different faiths. How is a church different from like the YMCA or a club or a fraternal club or whatever, things like that? Is there a difference?
Yeah, I think a sociologist or an anthropologist could look at them and see similarities of them being voluntary social organizations. But certainly from inside a church, it's very, very different because a lot of our members of this church, will be members of other organizations, like, for example, the ones you just named, or maybe, they're an engineer and they're part of an association of certain kinds of engineers, or they're a doctor, or they're a teacher, they're part of a teachers union, or part of the faculty of a local high school. Mm-hmm. But no, a church is distinctive in that it's specifically a grouping of Christians. And it would be people who understand themselves to be taking on special responsibilities for each other and having others take on special responsibilities for them. So, for example, when we had an older woman in our church a number of years ago who had never been married, had no children, and as she grew older, she became more infirm. She had worked in our church back in the 1950s and 60s on staff. In retrospect, we thought we had not taken good enough care of her back then. So we simply absorbed all the costs of her last years as she moved into a home and needed medical attention. We simply, as a church, paid for all that.
Interesting. And so does that happen from the leadership? So you mentioned you have members of the church. I'm thinking I've been a member of a photography club for years, and we certainly don't help people with their needs. We tell them their photo doesn't look good, or you need to do this, or the lens goes away from you when you take the picture and push the button. But it sounds very different.
Yeah, it's probably more comprehensive. We would understand that a good local church should be at the center of each Christian's life, and it will help them think through everything from their marriage to their own relationship with God, to their children, to their job, their education, their neighborhood. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So a church is I'm just going to try and repeat back to you what I've heard, an organization much more holistic than a photography club, to use that example, that really is concerned with the well-being of the people within it. Is that fair?
That's certainly fair. We're also concerned that the basic understanding of God and the relationship that we come to have with him through Jesus Christ is something that he wants everyone to have. So we understand that we are under obligation to make this known to others outside our church and even around the world and faraway places like Yemen and Saudi Arabia.
The church has, and I'm stopping myself here because there are lots of different types of churches. I mean, you mentioned that you're a Baptist church. I've heard of the Catholic Church. I've heard of Lutheran, Methodist, Scientology has a church. I don't even know much about that. But what are the differentiators between these? Are they all churches equal or are they different?
Well, usually if there's a different name attached to a church, there's some difference behind it that gives rise to that different name. So in Christian churches, would be those churches that are Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic, Protestant, those churches that maintain that God became a man in Jesus Christ. That would be different than something you mentioned like the Scientology, which would not be that, or even the, quote, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, close quote, the Mormons, who would teach that every person is an incarnate potential deity. So Scientology, Mormonism would be very different. Our church would be in the stream of Greek Orthodoxy, Roman Catholicism, Protestantism, which would believe very much in Jesus Christ at the center, and we would be different than the old strains of Greek Orthodox or Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholic. Would be with the Protestants in that we believe the way we're basically made right with God is by trusting in Christ. It's not by anything we do to cooperate with the church. It's just our faith in Christ. But that leads us to be a part of local churches, which is what all Lutherans, and Anglicans, and Presbyterians, and Baptists, and Methodists have historically, Congregationalists have historically believed.
So it sounds like you have a bent towards understanding the history of the church.
I did my PhD at Cambridge on history.
Okay. So I'm struck by, there's lots of different labels that we're talking about, and they mean different things. Like if you were talking to me about computers or a certain type of technology, I would understand those labels. And I guess you're saying that the belief, why do people come to your church, Capitol Hill, as opposed to a church down the street? Is it because of, you're a good CEO or what is that?
I'm sure there are as many different reasons as there are people. Maybe because they like the preaching, they like the singing, they have a friend that comes here. It may be because they've found their life changed by this specific teaching they hear here, or someone at another church that they had been prospering in spiritually recommended they come here when they moved to D.C. So there can be a lot of reasons. Do
you have not a sign in reality, the idea of a sign that says, here's why you'd come to Capitol Hill Baptist Church? What are you advertising? What are you selling?
We wouldn't actually be in competition with other churches that have the same gospel as we do. So there would be many churches in Washington, D.C. that we would understand that there is no great difference between you going to them or coming to us. Mm-hmm. We would say the important thing is you going to a church where the Bible is understood and taught.
Okay. And now the Bible, the Christian Bible, which I guess is the Old Testament, New Testament, as opposed to some of the other religious books that have been out there.
Right. The Hebrew Scriptures plus the 27 books of the New Testament.
Okay. And so you're a place where that is believed, championed, it's a good idea?
All of those things. It's
okay.
Like if you read Justin Martyr, writing in the middle of the 2nd century, he will talk about how on the first day of each week, all the Christians gather and they hear the Gospels read, and then they have someone explain it to them. That's exactly what we do. We read the Bible and we talk about it. We sing and we pray. So we do what Christians have always done, and that's what so many Christians around the world do every Sunday.
So what is that different than, let's say, reading the newspaper every Sunday?
Yeah, because we don't understand that the newspaper comes from God, whereas we understand the Bible comes from God.
Okay, so you're saying that the Bible comes from God. And who is God in this? I mean, there's a lot of different definitions, and imagine if you lined up 12 people on the street and you'd ask who is God, you'd get different answers. In your world, in Capitol Hill Baptist Church and Mark Dever's world, who is God? I mean, is he...
If God exists, he exists as he is, regardless of how you or I perceive him. So regardless of whether we're in Mark Dever's world, we would understand that we're in God's world.
Okay.
We can close our eyes, but he's still there. He's a sentient being who made everything that is, and he has made people specially to be like him in his image, and he's given us his will and his word and his law, and he calls us to follow him. And by nature, we tend to follow him some, but also we break his law. We do what is wrong. We do what the Bible calls sin. And that's where Christianity comes in. We understand that God sent his only Son, Jesus Christ, to live a life of complete trust in him and then die as a substitutionary sacrifice on the cross. You've probably seen the cross and associate that with Christianity. That's how it's at the center. That's the sacrifice that we understand Jesus made to assuage or satisfy God's wrath against us for all we've done that's wrong. Jesus took that punishment. He died in the place of all of us who would trust in him. That's the good news that we as Christians share with people in our church and really all truly Christian churches.
Okay, but couldn't God just overlook that? I mean, I have children, they do things that are wrong, and sometimes I discipline them for that, but many times I overlook it.
Well, you say couldn't, like that would be an ability, and to not do that is something like a disability. But when you're talking about overlooking that which is good and overlooking that which is evil, that would not be good on God's part. It would be an evil thing for him to ignore injustices that were done. So it's really, it's a problem with our language that we speak of God being able to overlook that which is evil. That would really be a disability of God's.
Okay, so you're not talking whether he's able or not, but whether he would.
Yeah, he will not, because he is good.
Interesting. So we've been speaking with Mark Dever, the senior pastor at Capitol Hill Baptist Church in Washington, D.C. Well, we've had a good conversation, and we'd love your feedback.
The Edge of Innovation is brought to you in partnership with Savior Labs. Savior Labs exists to help businesses mature and strategize for the future. Learn more about Savior Labs at SaviorLabs.com. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Edge of Innovation, Hacking the Future of Business. For the show notes and more information about Paul, please visit paulparisi.com. The Edge of Innovation is produced by Jacob Young in conjunction with copious amounts of coffee. Music on today's episode was from bensound.com. Paul can be found on Twitter at pdparisi and on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/pdparisi. This episode, like all our episodes, is transcribed and available at paulparisi.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.